Remember when I said I have no idea what I'm doing? Well, this week I'm going to ask for your advice before I do the thing that I don't know how to do. Yeah, something like that. Hi, I'm Russ. I'm rebuilding a 1977 Mobile Traveler motorhome. And this is all about the MT and me.
I don't think it's broken.
I don't think it is either. As you can see, my tarp that we spent 6 days putting up did not survive the first rainstorm that came through. And I'm really not sure if a gust of wind caught it or if the weight of the water on it was a problem. Could have been either one. But like Reed just said, it doesn't appear to be broken. It appears to have just fallen over, which means we may be able to just set it back up. I believe some of the cross braces might be disconnected now. But anyway, we'll examine it and see. But for the time being, it's just one more complication in this whole remodeling job. I have to smile. I have to smile. Hello again, and welcome back to the MT and me. You may remember a couple of weeks ago when we were about to move Pearl up onto the concrete slab. We were waiting on Ree's brother to come and help us out, towing her back up there. Well, while we were waiting, she asked me,
Why don't you tell me what we're going to do after we get her up on the concrete?
get her on the concrete, we're still going to have to get her level, because the concrete's not level. And probably going to get her back up on jack stands just to stabilize her, because in the process of working, we're going to be pulling the engine out sometime in the near future. And while that's going on, we're also going to be working on the interior, so we need her to be just as stable as possible. Mainly because so that we can get everything level and straight as we build it inside the interior. So this is what we've been working for, getting Pearl in a position that we can actually start the refurbishing work on her. And there's a lot of it to do. So yeah, this is a good thing. Once she gets up on this slab and gets in position, she's not going to move for quite a while. Yeah, a year, something like that. But at the end of that year, she'll be a whole new shiny pearl.
Well, no, she'll move in a year. That don't mean we're going to be done in a year. That means she's going to move in a year.
I'm being optimistic.
I'm designing Mongolian wind patterns as deflectors for the exterior. Come on, man, give me some time.
Get in gear, girl. That's all I can say. Got to keep up. I got to rebuild the motor. So,
and neither one of us have ever done this before.
no earthly idea how to. The only thing I know is the first things I'm going to do are pull off her front, take off the front bumper and the grill. because you have to do that. This motor has to come out forward. And so that's the first step. Pull the grill and the bumper, and then you start taking off the radiator and all the other stuff. So I know where to start, but past that, no, I really have no idea what's going on. I at least sort of kind of knew what I was dealing with and all that stuff with the wheel. I mean, I know how wheels are made and how brakes work. When it comes to pulling a motor out and rebuilding it, no, I think sometime about 30 or 40 years ago, I rebuilt a lawnmower engine. And if I recall correctly, it ran for about a week. So I'm going to have to do a better job on this one. So we'll see. We will see. As you can see, I got the grill and the bumper off. So that much is done. I also got to looking ahead in my trusty book here. That's going to be my Bible for this entire operation. And I discovered I need your advice on something. When taking the engine out, you have to get everything else off the front, of course, and then the engine has to pull out to the front. Well, in the instructions on pulling the engine, it tells you to use a tool C3809 from the Miller, oddly enough, the Miller Tool Company, to lift the rear part of the engine to make it easier to disconnect the transmission and get it out. It plainly tells you right in here that that tool is no longer available. And then they proceed to give you instructions on how to make one out of 1.5-inch galvanized pipe. Well, that's all well and good. It leaves me wondering, one, why the tool is discontinued if there are still plenty of these on the road and people are still pulling engines out of them. Why did they stop making the tool? Secondly, we went around and priced the components, which is a few feet of galvanized pipe, about 4 or 5 feet of it at least, but you have to buy a 10-foot section around here. And then you got to thread it, get it ready to go. Buy a couple of flanges, a couple of 90s. By the time you do all that, you're looking at approximately $120 in expense, maybe a little bit more if I have to get someone to cut it and thread it for me. Well, I hate to pay that much for something that I'm going to use twice, getting the motor out and putting it back in. So I'm looking for advice and suggestions from you on what I can do. First of all, could I find one of these tools somewhere? I don't know, possibly. Secondly, is there another way to do it? Those of you watching who have pulled engines and maybe even pull something out of a van like this or similar to this, where it's not the easiest thing to get out, is there a trick to doing this? The idea is that this supports the rear of the engine once you disconnect the transmission bell housing, so that you can pull the whole assembly out the front with a shop crane or something similar. So I'm seeking advice. I want you to give me your comments down below. Let me know if you have any solutions or any possible suggestions about finding this tool, about making this tool, or about getting around the use of this tool. I really want to hear from you, and I really need to help. And I'm asking in advance this time because it's going to be a couple of weeks down the road before I get around to pulling the engine. And so therefore I'll have plenty of time to read your comments and take your suggestions and take this to heart. I'm doing this the right way this time. So please, if you know something or you got an idea, help me out. I really would love to hear from you. Just put it in the comments below what you would do if you were trying to get this motor out of this 77 model Dodge van. Thanks in advance for everything you're telling me. it just me, or has your mess gotten bigger since the last time?
Oh, it's maybe gotten a little bit bigger. Just a little bit.
Well, we never did move the wood.
Well, hang on. In my defense, I did break down about 9 cubic feet of that plastic already.
I know you did.
Yeah.
You worked hard on that for 2 days, as a matter of fact. And then this last week, we had a family friend pass away. So everything here stopped for several days while we dealt with that. And as a result, this wood that we had set out to dry got wet because it started raining in the afternoons again. So now we've got to dry it all over again. And we still got a little plastic to process here. Let me show you what she's already done. So, the last time we tried to show you in here, it had gotten too dark. So I want to show you around real quickly as to what Ree's done as far as redesigning it. First of all, here's a lot of that plastic she's processed right here.
Hey, don't be losing any of that.
I got it back. I got it back.
There's still a lot more over here to be done, too. I was working on the beige.
Beige.
Because...
Beige. Beige. Because beige. Then we got red and white on after that. So there's a lot of work to do there. Back here, this rear half of the building will be the woodworking section, Ree's section. She calls it the genie bottle.
The genie bottle.
The genie bottle, because it's where magic will happen. I like that. I like that. So we've got some wood in here already, as you can see. And then some of that other will be moved in as well. Now this front section is eventually going to be cleaned out, cleared up, so I'll have an open space to do the automotive work on the motor. Ree's moved me a workbench into place here. I'll have plenty of room to have the engine on the engine stand, and it'll be a great place. And since we are in an enclosed building, we're sheltered from the weather, we can close the doors, we can actually put an air conditioner in here when it's hot, and we can also heat this building when it's cold, if it ever does get cold again. Right now, it's hard to believe, but in a few months it might. Maybe. I don't know.
February.
Hey, it snowed earlier this year, and no one expected that, so we just don't know what to expect in 2022. That's a long way off right now. Point is, she has done a fantastic job on this building. There's some work left to be done, and I'll help her out with it. We've got our separate projects going, but got each other's back as we try to process all of this and get the MT ready to roam the country. Amen. Okay, everything that's left has to have screws taken out of it. One seat down, one to go. So, there are 4 bolts holding these seats in. On the passenger seat, one of them was already loose, so I only had to disconnect 3 of them. And they were pretty tough. They're in there tight and snug, and these are bolts that were put in place 45 years ago and haven't been disturbed since. All 4 of them are in place here in the driver's seat, so I think I've got my work cut out for me. I'm going to start with the front right-hand bolt. Here goes. And at last, the first bolt comes out. Very fine threads, about 1.5 inches long. Like I said, it's very firmly in its threaded socket too. Plus, the way they're situated under the seat, right against the wall here, with the socket wrench you can only turn it about maybe 20 or 30 degrees at a time. So it takes a long time to unscrew it. That's one of the front ones. Now we'll work on the other one. One on the outside here, to the driver's side. There's the other front one from the inside. Now the 2 on the back are in just as snugly, but they're a little bit more accessible, so they're not as hard to get to. Let's see if we can get them out. This is what I'm doing. I want you to look.
Well, in that case, I'm going to step in and make these SOS.
Okay, that's all 4 bolts out of the driver's chair. Let's pull it back.
Hey, what's the cardboard?
Yeah. No. Well, nothing interesting under the driver's chair. However, in moving seat belts around, I found the gas cap. And I believe this might be the original cap, because we have a key to a locking cap that has disappeared. There was no cap on the gas tank whenever we got her. So there's a good chance that they replaced this one with the locking cap that's now gone. And that means this is, I'm betting, the original gas cap to Pearl. And it's the one she's going to be using when she runs again. Alright, the front seats are out. Leaves a lot more room to work in here. A lot easier to get around. It's going to make it a lot easier to do what we need to do to get the engine out. While I'm sitting here at the tail end of the engine, let me show you a little more about that CS3PO whatever tool it was that I was talking about earlier. It fits here, here, and across here. That's where the 3 bars go. And then it has a threaded bar that hangs down and hooks, I think, right here onto this little brace of the engine. You tighten it up, and it holds the engine up, the back of the engine up, while you disconnect these and take the bell housing off and disconnect the transmission. That's the idea behind that mount. And of course, I've already asked for your opinions on it and how I might get around it. So don't forget to leave your comments, okay? Because I really want to know what you think about it.
I'm proud of you for asking for advice.
I need help. I need all the help I can get. Right now, I need a drink because it's hot. Cheers.
Mango.
I have to lose my voice here.
It's because it's so hot. Did you finish your drink?
Oh, yeah.
Good. So, okay, you ready to do some windows and then we can go inside?
That sounds good to me.
All right.
All right.
So I have made cardboard cutouts of each of the windows, and they are taped up where we propose putting them.
What we're basically doing is kind of swapping sides here. This window that's in the MT right now is a 5-foot window
Yes.
and by 24 inches tall. And
21, I think.
21, well, 20 something anyway. But it's 5 feet long. And we want to use our 4-foot window over here instead because we're looking at moving the door a little bit closer this direction and widening it a little bit as well. So, because we're going to have a completely new door there. So in order to have a little more space between the window and the door, we're looking at cutting it back to a 4-foot window. The other window that we got is 5 feet, same size as that one, exactly, just cut a little bit differently. And of course it has the crank out panes in it. So we're looking at putting it on this side, which will take this small one out and have to take this window out as well. But this will give us more light coming in on this side of the MT and give us a nice, between the two windows we should have a very nice illumination on the main area right here. And then of course we're still going to have the rear window across the kitchen area. And then these up front will be there as well. So I think we'll have plenty of natural light coming in by swapping the windows this way, having the 4-foot on the passenger side and putting the 5-foot window on the driver's side. I like your idea, Ree. Works for me.
Thank you. Now let's go inside because it's hot and muggy.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Once again, we got so wrapped up in our work, we forgot to do a closing for the video. So we're going to do that now. And it's really okay because it gives me a chance to show off what Ree has done here in the workshop real quickly. If you look to the back, that's the genie bottle back there where magic will happen. She'll do her cardboard sculpting, and then later that'll be done in wood for the interiors of Pearl. And this front section here, this is going to be the mechanical workshop. We'll get the engine pulled out, get it into this part, and go to work on rebuilding it. Got all the tools here ready to go. Got the pegboard up that we can hang things on, keep track of everything. So, I think it's going to work out great. And like I pointed out earlier, being in an enclosed building, we can air condition it or heat it as the weather requires and stay fairly comfortable while we work. That is going to be nice. Today's been another hot one, and that's probably what we're going to have for the next few weeks, but we'll keep working on Pearl. We want you to stay with us. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and keep up with what's going on. Please leave your comments below, especially on pulling the engine like I've asked a little earlier here, and anything else you'd like to comment on too. We'd love to know what you're thinking. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, like and share this video. Join us next week on the MT and Me. Till then, I'm Russ, Reeves behind the camera, and we will talk later. Is that a take?
That's a take.
That's a take. All right.